I've just enjoyed listening to everything today. T, if you want to come up and riff with me, you're welcome. Um, so I would love, and we've rolled in a bar. We got some snacks, and also don't forget you got a little gift bag before you leave here. But let's continue the conversation and get to know one another, because one of the themes that I have heard so much about the last month, 2 months, is this idea of human connection is so incredibly important. And what Ryan said, and thank you to the gentleman in the back of the room for bringing this up, because Ryan said something about what is it that you think an AI can't replace, and he said responsibility. I thought that was a really great answer. But is the idea of human connection. And so today I would love to, one prompt might be, is there anything that you heard today that shifted your thinking about AI in any way? And T, any prompt ideas about how we can drive this conversation into our reception here?
Yeah, I think I love the fact that there seemed to be a common thread around responsible AI and security. I think being in my little builder bubble for the last 6 to 7 months in DC, I'm up against folks that just don't see it yet as a huge priority. So it's so refreshing to hear that everybody's really thinking about it front of mind, but it's also not preventing us moving forward. So that was my key takeaway today, and it was throughout every single panel.
Susan Sly asked me today in a quick interview, when we had our AI house at CES in January, a lot of the conversation was around, it's time to get in and imagine like the possible. But like we've already moved past that, and now it's like, oh, now we've got to really understand what responsible means. What does AI safety and security mean? Because we got the agents out there.
Yeah.
People are moving fast, right? And now they're going rogue. I would love, anybody want to share an idea or something that came to mind, or anything that might have shifted in your thinking about AI today? What comes to mind? I'm going to give you the mic, so.
I'll grab a mic and run around. Put your hand up if you'd like to share, please.
Yes, please. We would love your ideas. And I know it's late in the day, but we got a bar we're going to talk. Okay, there we go. Lisa. Lisa Levy, right?
Wait, I'm just going to change mics. 2 secs.
Okay, here, Lisa, I got you. I jump off stages.
Do you have insurance for that? Just no motorcycles. Okay, so as we heard a lot today about security, one of the things that, and it's near and dear to my heart, but the idea behind it of the ethics layer, is there an inference layer that we should be building that is fundamental so that as we're leveraging AI and they are starting to become more and more autonomous, do they have the guardrails that understand what our ethics are, what the values are to an organization, and do we have the frameworks to build from that? Because I think that we can, I just don't know that it's a focus area yet, and I think that for us to build partnerships with AI, that's the next step that I want to explore.
I love it. So there's a couple things. You've got what model are you using, and then what ethics layer are you using? That's pretty interesting. I love that. Here we go. All right, this conversation's going.
First of all, thank you for a great session, everyone. So one of the things I'm going to take away with all this talk we're talking about is that everyone's data is messy. So what I understood is process first, then perfection. If that's something we're going to keep with our mind, in that case, we'll not have any issues. And another thing is, responsible AI is not something we need to figure out right now, but we have to start processing it. And there have been great resources by Google's or any other companies. They have wonderful resources. So that's something we need to start practicing in our models. And another point is creating a model interpretability. Whatsoever problem we are trying to solve, first thing we need to think about is write down that problem statement first and decide whether we actually need any agents for it or we can actually solve it without anything.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we need to think about. And thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. That was great. I love that everybody's data is messy. One thing I think about is everyone in here looks really sharp, but I don't know how many of us are that quick to show off our closets, right? So my hand's going up first, okay? My wife's closet is like perfect, but yeah, Dad's closet, yeah. All right, over here.
You talked in the first session a little bit about moving to the mid-market. And one of the things that struck me with the whole security thing was how we with Glasswing, for example, when Mythos came out, it was only for the top, the big tier. When are we going to create a centralized place for the mid-tier? A place where we can kind of centralize the understanding, because this moves too fast, right? Every week it's a new thing, a new capability that's there or not there to manage security. So then how do we create a secure center for information for constant update for everyone? Because we need that at that mid-tier level.
Would you mind sharing, you say mid-tier, share us the company that you're with, just so they can get a sense of mid-tier.
Yeah, so I work for Harris. It's a part of Constellation in Canada. It's a conglomerate of an enormous number of software companies. It's a very large company, but so they're all mid-tier, right? But it's a massive company, and so then how do you empower? I mean, we internally have that. We're working on a centralized systems for everything from security to methodology, but it's bigger than us. There's a lot of mid-tiers out there. And we need to expand that. We can't just leave it for the elite to be able to be safe, right?
The elite. Love it.
So I have a thought on that. I'm going to keep bringing everything back to the task level. I remember when I first fell in love with AI 15 years ago, it was my understanding that a computer could mimic a human task, and I was like, oh my goodness, imagine if I could teach it more complex tasks. Let's move to Silicon Valley. So the reason I start with that is because for a lot of the tasks for mid-level companies, the technology already exists today. It doesn't matter what comes out tomorrow. You can start innovating today with what's currently there. So it's about hyper-focus on a process, using what's current and not over-modeling it, not bringing a knife to a gunfight or vice versa, right? And so a gun to a knife fight, right? So that's kind of saying. So I think the tech's there. Start with a task, start with a process, and start experimenting. And don't worry about what's coming out tomorrow. Just hyper-focus on getting that right start to finish. Pilot it, push it out, put guardrails around it, and be really happy with it as you start to see the returns. And I think that's the FOMO in the industry, so to speak, is we're just so caught up with having to have the greatest, but we don't need it. Sometimes what we have now is enough.
Thank you, T. Right here.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Antonio, old-timer in IT, new in AI, like many of us. And I think I work for a company, Semtech Corporation, where we have all the controls in security that you can imagine. When we develop something, when we release something, everything is going through audit. But guess what? Whatever we're doing with AI is blank. Auditors are not taking care of that. We are not taking care of that. So again, that's very important for us nowadays to get into security related with AI. That's my
Security first.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right, what else we got here? Anything else before we get to the bar? Our bartender's ready. Are you ready, bartender? All right. All right, well, listen, it's been an awesome day. I always feel so grateful as we wrap these events up for all of the people that made this possible. So all of from the very first speakers we selected, in fact, I think Eric Pace, you were one of the first speakers that said yes. So let's give it up for Eric Pace at CAIO at Cox Communications. But really all the speakers, and let's give it up for our lovely T. Hawkins, who emceed for us today. That's not an easy job, and that's why I find somebody to help me with this, because there's so much going on behind the scenes, and she keeps it all rolling. And then let's give it up one more time for a super innovative company. You know, they're 20 or 30 years old, but they are super innovative. As someone with a client like that, they are so great to work with because they lean forward. It's a very warm company. They really are welcoming. Let's give it up for KPMG, the KPMG team. Mike Johnson back there. Mike, please. Yes. I'm very lucky to have a client like Mike Johnson. When he's not doing this, he works at music festivals. So ask him about music festivals, because that's a very cool hobby of his. Anyway, I'm signing off here with my friend T.
You are signing off, except
Yes.
we all have to thank you.
Thanks.
I met Pete when he had a vision for bringing folks together and educating them, and he has ridden it out through the ups and downs through COVID and still persevered to make sure community was number one, regardless of what it personally cost him. Both professionally, and I'm sure that's what happened to the hair, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's very right. It
Um,
wasn't the kids.
But thank you, Pete. Thank you,
you,
Modev
T.
team, for making this happen. We wouldn't be here without you, so thank you.
Let's have a party. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.